He missed his birthday dinner to help an alien mother. And it changed everything. Haven 12 was the kind of planet most people forgot existed. No busy spaceports. No military bases. Just quiet homes, crop fields, and long blue skies. For the people living there, life moved slowly. They woke with the sunrise, worked with their hands, and returned home to warm dinners and familiar laughter. Marcus Hale liked life this way. He was a tall man with steady eyes, the kind that made others feel safe. He wasn't famous, powerful, or special in any grand way. He was simply good at building things, engines, generators, water pumps, anything that kept the colony running. People said Marcus could fix anything except the hole in his own heart from losing his wife years ago. But Marcus didn't like to talk about that. He just focused on raising his daughter, Amy. Amy was 9, curious, brave, always asking questions, always smiling. Sometimes Marcus wondered how someone so small could hold so much light inside her. They lived together in a small house near the colony's workshop. Every morning, Marcus walked Amy to school, kissed her forehead, and told her, "Be kind, be strong, and ask good questions." And every day, Amy would answer, "I will, Daddy." Life was simple. Until the day the sky changed, the day the sky darkened. It happened in the early afternoon. Marcus was fixing a power relay outside the workshop. Sleeves rolled up, hands covered in grease. Just another day. Then a low vibration rolled through the ground. Not like thunder, not like machinery, something older, something heavier. Marcus stood up slowly. A girl from the schoolyard pointed upward. "Look!" The entire sky had darkened not like clouds, but like something massive moving between the sun and the world. The people of Haven 12 stepped outside their homes. Children stopped playing. Farmers left their tools in the soil. Everyone stared upward. Shapes appeared, not one, not two, but 11 enormous ships, black and jagged like knives floating in the sky. Their hulls were marked with a symbol all humans knew. Serpent wrapped around a burning star. The Drax Dominion, a name spoken only in warnings and war stories. No one expected them here. Haven 12 had no military, no weapons, no soldiers, only people trying to live in peace. The voice that filled the sky, a deep voice, echoed from every speaker. Every communicator, every device. Human settlement Haven 12. You are now property of the Drax Dominion. Prepare for acquisition. A cold silence followed. Mothers pulled children close. Men clenched their fists. Fear spread like ice water through veins. Amy reached for her father's hand. "Daddy, what do we do?" Marcus didn't look away from the sky. "We think," he said quietly. "We don't panic. Panic makes mistakes, and mistakes get people hurt." He knelt down to her level. "You stay beside me, no matter what." Amy nodded, though her hands trembled. The leader who shouldn't have been one. Colony governor tried to speak with the invaders. He stood in the central square and opened a communication channel. His voice shook. "We are a peaceful colony. We have nothing you would want. Please." The alien hologram appeared. A tall figure with ash-gray skin, long black armor, and cold eyes, Commander Varkos of the Dominion. He didn't blink. He didn't smile. He simply said, "Peace is for the strong. Surrender, or we take what we want by force." People cried, people shouted, people begged, and that was when Marcus stepped forward. No uniform, no weapon. Just a man in work boots and a grease-stained shirt. Marcus speaks. "You don't need to do this," Marcus said, voice calm. Varkos studied him. "You are the leader of this colony?" Marcus shook his head. "No, just a father." Varkos tilted his head, almost amused. "Then your weakness will be the first lesson." Marcus's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed steady. "You think humans break when you scare us," he said. "You think we kneel when threatened." Varkos said nothing. Marcus stepped closer to the hologram, amber sunlight behind him. "But humans protect what we love. And when we protect, we are the most dangerous species in the galaxy." Varkos's expression changed for the first time. He didn't like that answer. Marcus's secret. Marcus didn't run to get weapons. Haven 12 had none. He ran to the old storage hangar. The one few people visited anymore, Amy ran beside him. breath sharp. Inside, beneath a dusty tarp, was something Marcus had been building in secret for 6 years. A machine powered by old starship cores, solar arrays, and every piece of scrap he could hide. He built it after his wife died. Because he realized something, the universe was not safe. But he would make safety. He pulled the tarp away. Project Shield Wall, a colony-wide defensive barrier unfinished but functional. Amy stared at it. You built this. Alone? Marcus smiled softly. Not alone. I built it for you. He pressed the activation control. The ground hummed. Light crawled across the colony. Perimeter like dawn moving sideways. Then, a vast shimmering. Shield erupted around Haven 12. The first blast from the Dominion ships hit the shield and stopped. The first clash, the shield shimmered like heat rising off pavement, soft to the eye, but strong like iron. People gathered near the edges of it, staring upward, where the Drax warships floated like dark mountains in the sky. For the first time since the invasion began, the humans were not shaking. They were watching. The Dominion ships fired again, red blasts of energy arcing downward. The light struck the shield and dissolved into blue sparks that drifted harmlessly away. The colony gasped. Someone whispered, "We're safe." But Marcus knew better. "No," he murmured. "We're not safe. We're just alive, for now." Inside the warship high above, in the command deck of the largest Drax vessel, Commander Varkos watched the glowing barrier around Haven 12 with growing irritation. His black eyes narrowed. Humans were not supposed to have technology like this. Humans were builders and explorers, not strategists. Not warriors. At least that's what the Dominion believed. Magnify the source of the energy field, Varkos ordered. A projection zoomed in, showing Marcus standing among the colony, speaking to frightened civilians and organizing repair teams already checking shield stability. Varkos's jaw tightened. "One man did this?" "No, Commander," one of his lieutenants replied. "One human did this." Varkos's expression turned from irritation to interest. Capture him alive. A species that produces minds like his must be understood. Marcus chooses his next move, on the ground. Marcus was already planning. His voice was calm, but his mind was working fast, measuring energy drain, calculating how long the shield could hold, considering food storage, communication jamming, escape routes. He thought like someone who never wanted to see a graveyard again. "Amy," he said gently, kneeling beside her, "I need you to go with Mrs. Elora to the shelter cave." "Stay there. Help the younger children." "Can you do that?" Amy nodded immediately. She didn't cry. She didn't ask questions. She was her father's daughter. Marcus stood and faced the colony. "Listen to me," he spoke loud, strong, steady. "The Dominion has numbers. They have weapons. We don't. But we have something they don't understand." He pointed to the people themselves. "We have each other. We work together. We think. We adapt. That is how humans survive." Fear did not vanish. But it changed. Fear turned into resolve. The Dominion sends troops on the warship. Varkos gave the order. Deploy the ground squads. Dropships detached from the fleet like dark arrows falling from the sky. They slammed into the shield, cracking energy sparking outward, but the shield held, so the Dominion changed tactics. The dropships released Hunter-class drones, insect-like machines that crawled across the shield's surface. Searching for weak points, Marcus saw them. "They're testing the barrier," he said. "They want to find a crack." Colonists looked at each other. "What do we do?" Marcus didn't hesitate. "We talk to them." The unexpected call. Marcus walked to the colony communicator tower and opened a channel directly to the Drax command ship. The screen flickered. "Commander." Varkos appeared, looking mildly amused. "You choose to speak again." "Human engineer." Marcus didn't show anger, didn't show fear. "Your approach is inefficient," Marcus replied simply. Varkos blinked. No one spoke to him like that. "Explain." "The faster you try to break the shield, the faster it adapts. The more pressure you apply, the stronger it becomes." Varkos narrowed his eyes. "You built something you barely understand." Marcus nodded once. "Yes, but I understand why it works." Varkos waited. Marcus spoke slowly, so Everyone, human and alien, could hear the truth. Humans build best when they have something to protect. The command deck fell silent. Varkos stared, not at the shield, not at the colony, at Marcus. This wasn't weakness, this was the most dangerous kind of strength. The Dominion escalates, so. Varkos said at last, voice low, "You think your courage will save you?" Marcus answered, "No. Our unity will." Varkos ended the connection without another word. His next command was simple. "Prepare the annihilation cannon." The crew hesitated. "Commander, that weapon will destroy the entire settlement." Varkos's voice was ice. "Yes, that is the idea." The colony watches the sky change again. The clouds above the Dominion flagship began to swirl. A beam of energy gathered at its underbelly, growing brighter and hotter by the second. The people of Haven 12 stared up, fear returning in a wave. Marcus closed his eyes. Project Shield Wall was strong, but not strong enough to stop something like that. He needed time. Time he didn't have, unless there was someone else he could call. Marcus ran to the old communications room, opened a secure frequency, and transmitted a message into the dark. "This is Engineer Marcus Hale of Haven 12. If any human ships are within 5 light jumps. We need help." Static, no response. Amy's voice echoed in his mind. "Be kind, be strong." And when humans don't break, the sky glowed so bright that it looked like the sun had fallen closer to the planet. The annihilation cannon on the Dominion flagship was almost ready, its energy core spinning like a star caught in a cage. Everyone in Haven 12 felt the heat. Everyone knew what it meant. If the cannon fired, there would be nothing left. Families held hands. Children cried softly. Even the bravest felt their hearts shake. But Marcus, he did not allow himself to break. He stood at the center of the colony, staring up at the sky, not in fear, but in focus. His mind was moving, not fast, not frantic, just clear. Inside the command ship, Commander Varkos watched Marcus on the hologram display. A human, just a human, but he stood like someone who refused to kneel. That bothered Varkos more than any weapon. "Fire when ready," the commander ordered. The weapons officer hesitated. "Commander, the shield, it is still holding." "We will see how long it holds," Varkos replied coldly. A voice in the static down in the colony's communication tower. Marcus stared at the console. The message he had sent was still echoing across empty space. No answer. No signal. Just silence. He closed his eyes for 1 second. Not to give up, but to remember. His wife. Her smile. Her voice the last night they spoke. Being strong doesn't mean never fearing. It means choosing what to protect even when you are afraid. Marcus opened his eyes again. He placed his hand on the console, and the static changed. Not a full message, not words, but a pulse. A reply, someone heard, but how far away were they? Would they arrive in time? Even Marcus couldn't answer that. So he did the only thing he could. He prepared his people to survive, even if help never came. Preparing the colony, Marcus walked back outside. Everyone turned toward him, waiting to be told the truth, waiting to be told they were going to die. But Marcus didn't speak of death. He pointed to the barricades, the tool carts, the buildings. "We are still alive," he said. "So we keep fighting like we are alive." People listened, not because he was loud, but because he meant every word. "Children to the caves," Marcus instructed. "Elders with them. They are our future. They must survive." The colonists obeyed instantly, not out of fear, out of trust. Marcus then turned to the workers. "Miners, farmers, engineers, ordinary people. We do not fight their strength," he said. "We fight with what we are. Human, smart, adaptive, stubborn. They began to reinforce the shield relays, move reflective metal sheets, redirect. Solar power arrays, every person became part of the defense. Haven 12 was not just a colony anymore. It was a pack, and humans, when part of a pack, don't break. The cannon fires in the sky. The annihilation cannon reached full charge. The light was blinding. The air vibrated with impossible power. Varkos, spoke softly, with the cold satisfaction of a hunter, and this, the cannon released, a beam of white hot. Energy shot downward like a lightning bolt made of stars. It struck the shield. The sound was like a mountain cracking in half. The ground shook. The trees bent. The air screamed. People fell to their knees from the shockwave. Marcus stood firm, teeth gritted, watching the shield shimmer under the impossible force. For a moment, just a moment, it held. Then cracks formed. Blue light flickered. The shield began to tear like fabric under too much pressure. Amy, safe in the caves, felt the vibration through the stone floor. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Daddy." "Don't let go," the shield breaks with. A final deafening crack. The shield shattered. Blue fragments of light scattered like glass in the wind. The sky above the colony was open again. The people looked up. There was no time to run. No time to hide. No chance. The next blast would destroy everything. Marcus did not move. He looked straight at the sky, not with defeat, with fire. Help arrives, but not how anyone expected, just as the cannon began to recharge. A thin silver streak moved across the sky, fast, graceful, silent. Then another, and another, small. Ships, human ships, 3 of them, then 5, then 12. They weren't battleships, they weren't war carriers, they were salvage. Ships, mining haulers, transport crafts. The kind of ships used by ordinary humans, scattered across space. But they came. They came because Marcus asked. They came because humans answer each other when it matters. They formed a wall in front of Haven 12, not armored, not strong, but willing. The comms lit up with dozens of voices. "Haven 12, we hear you. We stand with you. No human colony dies today." Marcus felt his chest tighten, not from fear, but from something deeper. Hope. And Marcus spoke. Once more he opened a channel to Varkos. His voice was steady, clear, alive. "You wanted to see human strength. Commander, now look at it." The Battle of Minds. The sky above Haven 12 now held 2 walls, a wall of alien power, the Dominion flagship and its weapons, a wall of human courage, small ships, mismatched and lightly armored, but holding formation like they were carved from the same steel. They didn't come because they were ordered. They didn't come because they were heroes. They came because a human asked for help. Commander Varkos stood on his command platform, hands clasped behind his back. He observed the new arrivals with cold interest, not fear. Civilian ships, his weapons officer reported. No military signatures. No high-grade shields or weapon systems. Varkos allowed himself a thin, dismissive smile. "Then we burn them first." Marcus understands the enemy in the colony below. Marcus watched the sky. His face was calm, but his mind was sharp and moving fast. He knew Varkos, not personally, but in type. Varkos was a conqueror who believed only one thing. Strength is dominance. He believed fear was control. He believed compassion was weakness. Marcus exhaled slowly. The Dominion didn't understand humans. Not yet. He picked up the colony broadcast, microphone, and spoke to every ship in orbit and every human on the ground. "Listen, the Dominion sees us as animals. They think we panic. They think we break. So we don't fight their guns. We fight their expectations." The human ships listened. Marcus continued. "We don't need to overpower them. We need to outthink them." The trap begins. Marcus ran to the main power relay, shouting to the engineers, "Redirect all shield energy, but don't restore the shield." The engineers stared at him. "But the colony will be open." "Yes," Marcus said. "Let them think we are defenseless. Humans did something. Aliens rarely expected. They played weak on purpose." The engineers obeyed. Power rerouted. Lights dimmed. The colony looked fragile, unprotected. Varkos saw it, and he smirked. "Now they bow." He raised his hand. "Prepare to fire." "But humans aren't still on the ground." Marcus spoke into a private channel to the human ships in orbit. His voice was steady, calm, almost quiet, but full of clarity. "On my signal, break formation and scatter. Scatter, one pilot echoed. They'll shoot us down. Marcus nodded to himself. Not if we move faster than they can track. We're not here to fight them in the air. We're here to blind them. The signal. Varkos raised his arm to give the final order. Marcus whispered, now. The human ships exploded outward, not physically, but in movement, scattering in 12 directions, each releasing chaff flares and electromagnetic pulse dust, the sky filled with shimmering reflective fragments, like glitter made of lightning. Dominion. Sensors scrambled, their targeting systems jammed, their communications looped into static. The entire Dominion fleet went blind. Varkos's calm expression shattered. What have they done? His officers tried to stabilize the systems. It's not a weapon, one stammered. It's interference from common industrial frequencies. Varkos turned slowly. They are using mining tools to disable a war fleet? Marcus smiled from the ground. Yes, that was exactly the point. The second stage of the trap with the Dominion sensors blind. The human ships didn't try to attack. No, they broadcast something, a message, a recording, images, evidence. The data packet Marcus had prepared. Every crime of the Dominion, forced colony, slavery, resource, theft, artificial wars, Drax experiments, thousands of Dominion officers across space, millions across networks, received the signal instantly. The Dominion feared violence, but humans knew the Dominion feared truth even more. Varkos watched as his own empire began to turn against him. Turn off the broadcast. We can't. Shut it down. We can't, sir. The signal is leap transmitting across the galactic net. Varkos slammed his fist down, cracking the console. Human vermin. Marcus speaks to the commander. Marcus opened a direct channel. Varkos appeared, furious, breathing hard, no longer calm. Marcus's voice stayed level. You fight with fear. We fight with memory, stories, truth. We speak to each other. We help each other. That's why you lose, Varkos hissed like an animal. You think this changes anything? Marcus shook his head. No, not yet. But now the galaxy is watching you. You can't hide. You can't silence what has been seen. Varkos drew his blade, a ceremonial weapon, old and sacred. If I cannot destroy your colony, I will destroy you. He prepared to descend. Marcus didn't flinch. He didn't run. He simply said, come down then. But understand something first. The camera fed to the Dominion ship, zoomed in on Marcus, but not his face. On the people behind. Him. Hundreds. Humans worked together. Commander Varkos descended from his warship like a falling shadow. A landing pod slammed into the ground outside the colony, sending dust and gravel into the air. When the doors opened, Varkos stepped out fully armored, black metal trimmed with cold silver. His presence felt like winter made into a man, but Haven 12 did not hide. People stood behind Marcus, engineers, farmers, medics, miners, ordinary humans with tired eyes and steady hearts. They did not carry weapons. They carried purpose. Varkos expected fear. What he saw was unity. He did not understand it. Not yet. Marcus does not step back. Varkos approached, his armor clanking softly against the cracked earth. Marcus stood alone in front of the crowd, sleeves rolled up, boots dusty, hair wine-tossed, simply a man. But he stood like someone who would not move. Amy watched from the hill near the caves. Her small hands pressed against a rock, her breath quiet but steady. She didn't call out. She trusted her father. Varkos raised his weapon, a blade made of dark plasma light. You speak for these humans, he said. Then die for them. But Marcus didn't reach for a weapon. He spoke, calm, steady. I don't need to fight you. Varkos's eyes narrowed. Coward. Marcus shook his head. No, I simply know I'm not alone. Humans move as one. Marcus raised one hand, not to block, not to strike, but simply as a signal, and the colony moved, not forward, not back, outward. Teams split instantly. Engineers ran to power. Relays. Miners activated signal. Jammers. Medics prepared safe zones. Farmers released. Reflective aerial balloons to obscure targeting. Children and elders stayed hidden in the cave system, watched and protected. Not chaos. Not panic. Coordination. Every person knew a role, because Marcus had prepared them not for war, but for survival together. Varkos blinked, confused for the first time. This wasn't rebellion. This was organization. The air changes above. The civilian ships that answered Marcus's call moved again, not into battle formation, but into a defense web, forming a loose sphere around the colony. They rerouted solar sails, redirected mining mirrors, and used cargo hauler reflectors to bend light downward. All of Haven 12 became a signal mirror, bouncing scans and sensors into noise. The Dominion fleet tried to target the colony again, but every reading returned wrong. Buildings appeared to shift, ground terrain seemed to melt. Human heat signatures duplicated into hundreds of ghost signals. The Dominion had no targeting lock. In a single moment, the humans took away the Dominion's greatest advantage, control. The conversation that wasn't about words, Varkos, stared at Marcus, truly stared, for the first time. You are not soldiers. You are laborers. How do you coordinate like this? Marcus answered quietly. We build worlds, Varkos. We raise children. We share hands when others fall. We have done that since the first human stood upright on Earth. He pointed to the colony. You conquer with fear. We survive with each other, Varkos growled, a sound like metal bending. Strength is power. Marcus shook his head. Strength is responsibility. Varkos didn't understand. He thought of strength as domination. Marcus thought of strength as protection. Two different worlds, two different civilizations. And now, two choices. Destroy or understand. The fight begins, but not how expected, Varkos. Lunged, plasma blade swinging. Marcus rolled aside, but he wasn't fast enough to win. He never expected to win in a duel, because this fight was not one-on-one, and the entire colony knew that. A sudden burst of light flashed from the cliffs, reflective panels aimed at Varkos's eyes. He raised an arm to shield his vision, a small motion, but enough. Marcus moved, so did the colony. Net launchers fired. EMP coils charged. Miners' sonic drills roared. Not to kill, to disable. They didn't try to overpower the armored warrior. They removed what made him powerful. Vision, disturbed, armor. Joints magnetically jammed, blade power core, disrupted, piece by piece. The commander of the Dominion became just a man. Varkos staggered, shocked, stunned. You cooperate like you share one mind, Marcus stepped forward. No, we share one reason. Varkos's voice cracked, confused, angry, fearful. What reason? Marcus didn't shout. He simply turned so Varkos could see Amy watching from the hill, her face small, her eyes steady, her trust absolute. Marcus spoke softly. We protect what we love. The colony echoed him, hundreds of voices. One truth, we protect what we love. The sound shook. The last stand. The ground was quiet after Varkos fell to one knee. Dust floated slowly in the air, glowing in the afternoon light. The colony held its breath, but the war was not over. High above, the Dominion flagship shifted. Its engines roared like a dying star. The ship was preparing a final decision, not strategic, not tactical. Desperation in the command deck. Dominion officers stared at their screens. Commander Varkos is losing control on the ground. Human resistance continues. Our fleet is blind to targeting, awaiting new orders. There were no new orders, so the Dominion made a choice no living species should ever make. Initiate planetfall burn. A weapon not meant for war, a weapon meant for erasing planets. The flagship began to descend, not slowly, but like a world-sized hammer ready to crush everything. Beneath it, the colony saw the shadows spreading across the sky. Some gasped, some cried, but no one ran because now they understood. Running is how the Dominion wins. Standing is how humans survive. Varkos watches the sky fall. Varkos turned his head, armor sparking where the humans had disabled it. He saw his own warship descending to destroy everything, including him. For the first time, something real passed through his expression. Shock. They would burn the ground to silence me, he said quietly. To silence the truth. Marcus nodded. Yes, because your empire is built on fear. and now fear is turning back on you. Varkos's breath shook, not in weakness, but realization. He had become the disposable piece, soldier to be erased the moment he questioned command. Marcus placed a hand on Varkos's shoulder. Not to restrain him, but to humanize him. "We don't leave people behind," Marcus said. "Even enemies. Not if they choose to stand with life." Varkos stared at him, and for the first time, he understood the difference. Dominion conquered to feel powerful. Humans protected to remain human. The colony moves. Again, Marcus turned to his people, everyone to emergency positions. "We need to channel power, every panel, every relay. We only get one chance." Engineers sprinted. Miners dragged portable generators. Pilots coordinated with orbiting ships. This wasn't a defense anymore. This was a gamble. They were going to redirect the flagship's descent force back upward, using the remains of Project E. Shield wall broken, cracked, barely functioning, but not dead, just like the people. The final build, the ground shook. Trees bent sideways. The sky glowed red from heat and friction. The flagship was almost in the atmosphere. Marcus worked faster than he ever had in his life. Sweat dripped. Hands bled. Breath came sharp, but his eyes stayed steady. Amy watched him from the cave entrance. Her small hands clasped tightly. She did not call out. She only whispered, "Be strong." "Daddy!" Marcus closed a circuit. The power surged. Panels lit like stars. The broken shield generator roared back to life. Not full. Not stable, but enough. Marcus screamed over the wind. "Now! Every ship, feed your power into the grid." The human ships, scattered across the sky, opened their reactors, not to fire, but to give. The shield flickered, sputtered, threatened to die. But humans do not break. It rose. A beam of blue light shot upward like a second. Sunrise. It met the descending warship head-on. Impact shook the world. The sky cracked with light. The ground trembled like a heartbeat. People and machines and forests and mountains felt the blast. But the colony stood because they stood together. Varkos makes. His choice, the Dominion flagship, began to tilt, forced upward, pushed not by weapons, but by the combined will of humans who refused to fall. Varkos rose shakily to his feet. His armor sparked. His blade flickered. He looked at Marcus, at the colony, at the child. Then he looked up, at the empire that had raised him to believe power was everything, and he made the only choice that meant something now. He opened a private command channel, Dominion. Officers on the warship froze as Varkos's voice filled the bridge. "This is Commander Varkos. Cease planetfall burn. I am alive, and I stand with them." There was silence. Then, override accepted. The warship engines shut down. The descent slowed. The massive vessel drifted upward. Away from Haven 12, the sky cleared. The colony let out a sound. Not cheers, not shouts, but a long breath held for too long. Relief, life, survival. Marcus looks. Up he exhaled. His hands shook now, not from fear, but from release. Amy ran to him, her steps small but fast, and he caught her, lifting her into his arms. She pressed her forehead to his. The message to the galaxy, the smoke in the sky, slowly faded. The wind returned. Birds began to call through the trees again, cautious at first, then louder, as if nature itself was exhaling after holding its breath. Haven 12 was still standing. Not perfect. Not undamaged, but alive, and that mattered more than anything. Marcus stood on the old observation ridge, overlooking the colony. The sunlight was softer now, golden and warm. Amy sat beside him, leaning gently on his arm, her small smile quiet and full of pride. "Are they gone forever?" she asked. Marcus looked at the sky, where the Dominion flagship now hovered at a respectful distance, engines quiet. "No," he said. "Trouble rarely disappears forever, but we changed something today. And changes like that don't go unnoticed." He was right. Across the galaxy, thousands of worlds had seen the broadcast. Millions of people, soldiers, civilians, workers, refugees, All saw the evidence the colony transmitted. All heard Marcus's message. All saw how Haven 12 stood together as one. The galaxy now knew a truth that could not be erased. Humans do not break. Humans do not kneel. Humans protect each other. The Dominion reacts on the Dominion flagship. Varkos walked into the command chamber. No longer as a conqueror, but as someone different. Someone who had seen something greater than fear. Officers watched him in silence. They expected rage, or punishment, or death. Instead, Varkos removed his military insignia and set it on the command table. "We were wrong," he said. The room shifted, like the air was holding its breath. "We believed strength meant control. That order was more important than life. But humans show something else, a kind of power we were never taught to understand." He looked beyond the view window, toward Haven 12 below. They fight for each other. Not for glory, not for dominance, not even for victory. They fight because they care. The officers did not speak, but they listened. For the first time, truly listened. "The Dominion must change," Varkos said quietly, "or it will crumble from the inside." And this time, no one argued. The galaxy responds on distant worlds. People whispered the story, in dark mining tunnels, in crowded market cities, in military barracks, in hidden refugee shelters. The message spread like fire. The colony on Haven 12 stood against the Dominion, and survived, more than survived. They won without destroying. They won by standing together. This story became something greater than news. It became a signal, a spark, a beginning. Somewhere far away, oppressed worlds began to gather quietly. Somewhere deeper, military officers questioned their orders. Somewhere near the stars, hidden fleets paused and reconsidered. The galaxy shifted, just a little, but enough. A new future weeks passed. The colony healed. New shields were built, stronger, cleaner, powered by shared network grids. The landing pad now held both human ships and Dominion officers, working side by side, learning from each other. The word civilians used for them was new. Not enemies. Not conquerors. Allies in progress. Amy played with children of both species near the river, laughter echoing across the rocks. Marcus taught engineers from 5 different planets how to strengthen shield networks using basic mining converters. And Varkos, once a feared commander, sat with him, studying how humans solved problems together instead of alone. There was still tension, still history, still wounds, but there was dialogue now, and dialogue was the first step toward peace. The final speech won. Quiet evening, Marcus joined the colony on the large central platform. A holographic transmitter floated above them, broadcasting to listening worlds. He didn't speak loudly. He didn't speak dramatically. He just spoke like a man who had lived a hard life and learned what mattered. To anyone who hears this, human or not, remember this: power is not force. Power is not fear. Power is what happens when people stand together. We didn't win because we were stronger. We didn't win because we had better tools. We won because we refused to let each other fall. If we want a better galaxy, any of us, any species, then we must remember we protect what we love. We lift each other up. We never stand alone. The signal carried far across space. No anthem followed, no celebration, just quiet truth, and that truth was enough. The HFY ending, the galaxy did not change. Overnight empires do not collapse in a day, but everywhere, small shifts began, voices rising, hands reaching, people remembering what it means to hope. Because of one colony, one father, one child, one stand. This is why the galaxy will always remember. Haven 12, not because humans were unbreakable, but because when everything was falling apart, they held on to each other. And that is the most human thing of all. If you enjoyed this video, like this video, subscribing, and clicking the bell icon to stay updated with fresh content every day.